Good evening, Fernwood. My name is Neil, and thank you for joining me for, me hanging out and watching Mary Hartman, Mary Hartman. We've got a little bit of a recap before we get into the April 2nd, 1976 episode. Mary dug deep into the Stet mindset. She's been reading some of the literature, at least one tiny little brochure, and she seems to have stuck really hard on that specific set of ideas that she got from Roberta Wallachek. Tom was very happy to be elected to union office at the factory. Unfortunately, neither of them, Mary or Tom, seem to be able to hear the other person's emotions. So that's something that they'll need to figure out. I think that's something they've needed to work on for a little while. In the Haggers household, Muriel continues to drive a wedge between Charlie and Loretta, and that's really sad because it's completely made up. And by that, I mean Muriel's scar is a prosthetic makeup device that she showed us, the audience, at the last bit of her scene. And then, Tom is definitely trying at least a little bit when it comes to Mary. He was doing a little bit of reading in a magazine, much like Mary would do. I don't think he was quite as into it as she is. And then when Mona Mackenzie came, he was definitely interested in helping Mary. That seemed to be the focus of this, was that Tom doesn't think that he has a problem and that Mary does. And I think they really do have a problem together, but what happened in that scene is that he let it get a kiss too far with Mona Mackenzie, who was focusing on specifically Tom's performance anxiety, which, as far as I know, he hasn't really been dealing with, or when I say dealing with, he hasn't really been suffering from that recently. I think that was something more early in the series, but it just went a little bit too far. And of course, even though when we revisit them later, he's pulled away and he's definitely not into the kissing of Mona Mackenzie, but that seems to be just even more fuel for Mary's anxiety fire. I think that's what I'm going to call it today because I'll forget it. But Mary is definitely not happy, and they do need help. I think that this was not the help that they needed, and I think that, well, we'll see where this goes. That was the recap of the April 1st, 1976 episode, so let's just jump right in.
Mary Hartman! Mary Hartman! Oh, oh, Mary, what is going on in this world?
The way everything is going downhill, I'd rather not know.
Kathy's gone away for the weekend with Sergeant Foley, and it's not even the weekend yet. And if that isn't bad enough, there's this whole ozone thing.
What is something?
You don't know about the ozone thing?
Do I?
Well, everybody knows about it. Everybody's been talking about it for years. Oh, it's not possible that you do not know about it.
No, I don't know. Maybe I do know.
Well, I didn't know about it either until this morning when I read it in the paper.
What is it?
Well, there's ozone in the air.
I don't smell anything.
Well, no, it's 80,000 feet up. There's this whole layer of it, and all these spray cans are going to destroy it. That's what the scientists say anyway, but I don't see how that is possible.
Ma, I'll tell you frankly, I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, now, Mary, you just look. Look.
Ma,
Hmm?
that's your oven cleaner.
No, wait, I didn't even do it yet. Now, you watch. You watch. Did you see that?
I didn't see anything.
Exactly.
Exactly what?
Mary, get your room freshener.
Why?
Just get it. There. Now spray.
Spray?
Spray. Spray it. There, you see?
I don't see anything.
That is my point. You see, it's all gone. Now, if it's all gone in this little bitty tiny room, how could it get 80,000 feet up in the air to destroy the ozone? And what is ozone anyway?
Well, I don't know, Ma.
You know, a decade later, they'd have a whole
And what about Kathy?
change.
What about her? Just
I mean, we
are
still
you
have aerosol
splitting
cans,
from
but
one man to the other like a grasshopper?
Grasshoppers don't flit, Ma, they hop. Butterflies flit.
What are you
we'd reduce some
talking
of
about,
that
butterflies? What am I going
aerosol
to do
stuff,
with
just a little
Kathy?
bit. So I think
I'm not Kathy's
there are still
mother.
holes in our ozone. If you don't know what that is, please look
Is
it up.
that my fault?
I have my own child to cope with. My child is in love with Mr. Taxerman.
A taxerman? But do we know any taxermans? I don't think so. There's an Epstein family over on Mary June Street. You don't mean him, do you?
Ma, how can you possibly get Taxerman mixed up with Epstein?
Well, Mr. Epstein is a CPA, you see, so he figures out income taxes, which might make people call him a tax man. It's an understandable mistake.
Mr. Taxerman is Heather's social studies teacher. She wrote him a love letter, and I found it in her jacket pocket.
Oh.
Here, read it. No, don't read it. Don't read it. This is my problem, and I have to cope with this myself. I don't know what's happening to Heather. You can't believe what I'm finding in her jacket pockets.
Are they torn? Mary, you know the best thing for relining pockets is denim.
No, Ma, they're not torn. It's just they're all full of strange things. That's all. There are the letters from her to her social studies teacher. There are pictures of baseball players and joints.
Joints? Huh? You mean like elbows and knees in her pocket? Are you crazy? That's impossible.
Ma, could you never mind? Okay, I just have to figure out myself. I just have to figure out a way to cope with all of this. I've just got more coping to do these days, and I know what to do with. It's just not Heather. It's Tom, and it's me, and it's you, and it's Sergeant Foley, and it's Kathy, and it's just everyone. I just can't cope with everything I have to cope with, that's all.
Mary,
What?
are you depressed?
No. What makes you think I'm depressed? And because I can't establish a good relationship with my husband, and my daughter hates me? No, I don't think there's anything to be depressed about.
Do you know, George told me that Tom was elected to the union office. So I guess that means now he'll be going out to Milwaukee to those conventions with the banquets and naked girls jumping in and out of cakes and stuff like that. But, Mary, oh, your hands are shaking. I think you smoke too much.
Hello? Oh, hi. Tonight? Yes. Okay. Fine. Thank you. Bye.
Who was that?
That was, my friend Roberta. There's a STET meeting tonight.
Oh, what is that?
STET, STET is my last chance, and if that doesn't work, I'm gonna go out of my mind.
Mary, you seem kind of nervous.
Do I?
Yes, you know what I think you should do?
What?
I think you should take 2 aspirin and put your feet up.
Charlie, wake up! Come on, wake up!
What is it, honey? What's the matter?
I can't believe you did this to me.
What's what, honey?
I can't believe you're sleeping on this couch all by yourself. I mean, I just can't believe you're sleeping.
Oh, honey, it was your idea. I mean, it was your idea we should sleep apart. It was never my idea.
I didn't want you to sleep.
What did you expect me to do?
I expected you to toss and turn all night the way I did. I mean, seeing as how this is the first time we hadn't slept in the same bed together since we first started sleeping in the same bed together. Charlie, I expected you to be as miserable as a cat out in a rainstorm.
I was miserable and I was yearning.
Charlie, you were not. You were sleeping.
I was dreaming. I was dreaming awful dreams.
What about?
I was dreaming about being upstairs with you. And you holding me and me holding you and all like that.
Well, that sounded like a bad dream to me. It's not so awful.
Well, I knew it was a dream is what was wrong with it.
Well, it's your own fault, Charlie, for being so selfish and stubborn and everything about Muriel.
Don't talk to me about that poisonous woman.
See? There you go again.
Honey, all right. I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight, honey. I love you. Sooner than fight with you, I would jump head first into a barrel of bear grease and drown from suffocation. Honey, don't you see that's what Muriel wants? She wants us to fight.
Honey, don't you see that you owe Muriel something because you threw a pan of grease in her face?
That was an accident. It was an accident, baby.
Then why come Muriel says it wasn't?
I got an idea how I can prove to you about Muriel and the bear grease.
How?
You just go over there and stand there behind that curtain.
What?
I'll show you.
What are you talking about? What do you mean?
Go ahead over there behind the curtain and just hold still and listen, that's all. You'll see, Doug. Please, just do what I say. Now, please, just hold still and get behind the curtain.
All right, I'm going to do this, but I'm telling you, I got no faith in this Charlie Haggers, and if it wasn't that I have, underneath this dislike for all the stubbornness that you're doing right now, a whole pile of love left for you, Charlie, I wouldn't do it.
Muriel?
Yes, what is it?
Are you up?
Yeah.
Would you come on down here, please? I want to talk to you about something.
All right, I'm coming.
Hi, Muriel. Did you sleep well?
Yeah.
That's good. Are you enjoying your stay here?
Uh-huh.
Muriel, I gotta tell you something, Muriel. You win. You got me beat, honey. I mean, you got all the aces. Everything's worked out all your way. You even got Loretta believing that you're the sweetest, loveliest, most marvelous person in the whole world.
Ain't that nice?
Ain't it nice? Ain't it nice? And she believes that you got that grease in your face because I threw it on you on purpose.
Ain't that nice?
She believes that scar is...
That scar has ruined 15 years of my life. And I don't want to talk about it before breakfast. It just churns up my stomach.
Well, Muriel, well,
I
I've
said
just...
I don't want to talk about it. All right. I'll talk about it. Is there something you want to say?
Well, it's just that on the night of that holdup, when everything was so
Hold
mixed
up.
up...
What hold up?
On the night of the holdup. When the accident happened, when the accident with the grease happened.
Charlie, what on earth are you talking about?
What?
There was no hold up. You just made up that story. And you know darn well when you flung that bacon grease, that was no accident.
Muriel, you don't have to put on with me. We're alone. We're alone. We can talk true.
I am talking true. I don't know what you're doing. I mean, maybe you're a little confused. Maybe you're a little crazy. Maybe you got clean out of your mind and you don't know the truth from fiction. But all I know is I'm bored. And I'm going to go get me some more coffee.
She did it again. She did it again. She shot me right out of the water. I tell you, that woman is a witch.
Charlie, please understand that I'm not mad at you because you was trying to mislead me. I'm just going to try and understand, honey, what it is that's eating at you inside.
Honey, what's eating at me inside is how evil that woman can be.
No, Charlie, I understand what it is. There is something inside you about Muriel, and I believe it's the opposite of hate.
If you think that there is a speck of love in my body for that woman that I was married to for 5 hateful months 15 years ago, honey, you're wrong.
Are you telling me that you have no feeling, no emotional feeling whatsoever left over for her from your marriage, and it's not just eating at you trying to get out?
If you're trying to say, do I have any love for her, then you are wrong, honey. You are wrong. That's what I'm saying is that you are wrong.
Well, all right, Charlie. Then seeing as how there ain't no love, old love left over bubbling up for her, and seeing as how she's in a huge pack of financial trouble, darling, and seeing as how I think she's a very nice person and needs our love and support, then I see no reason whatsoever why we cannot let her stay in this house, and when that money comes rolling in from that smash hit record, we're going to give her a boost on the ladder of life, Charlie.
All right. Okay. You win. I've been whooped. I've been whooped by 2 women. One that I love so much it like to bust my heart, and that's you, and another I hate so bad it makes me sick to my stomach to look at her.
Hello, darling. Don't you say hello to your mother? It's a very nice way of showing human contact and love.
Hello.
Hello. Did you have a nice day at school?
No.
Honey, let's sit down and have a nice talk.
I'm gonna go watch TV. My little Margie's on.
Honey, let's have a talk about Mr. Taxerman. Sit down. I have the funniest story to tell you. When I was your age, I had a crush on my social studies teacher.
How did you know that, Mr. Taxerman?
Well, it is one of the strangest coincidences, but really strange. I just happened to be going through your pockets, in your little jacket there. I just happened to be going through them. I just happened to, come across this love letter that you wrote to Mr. Taxerman.
That's illegal search and seizure.
What?
We learned about that in civics. That's against the Constitution.
Heather, now why should a loving daughter and a loving mother be sitting here and talking about the Constitution, huh?
It's a federal offense. I'll call the ACLU. You'll go to jail.
Heather, a loving daughter does not talk to her mother in such an unloving way. I love you.
I don't love you. You're unconstitutional. You read my letter to Mr. Taxerman. I hate you.
I didn't do that. I didn't do that. I'm sorry. I really didn't do that. Something in me did that. I did not do that. Please forgive me, Heather. I'm so sorry. I didn't do that. My arm did it. My hand. My hand forced my arm across your face. It wasn't me, Heather. It was my... If I could take my arm now and throw it on the other side of the room, I swear I would. I swear, Heather, please forgive me. Let's just pretend it didn't happen, okay? In my heart, I am pretending it didn't happen. Please pretend that it didn't happen.
Oh, Heather, where are you going in such a hurry?
You.
Oh, that's nice.
I live with you. I hate her. Oh, Heather, I love you. I swear. Please don't hate me, please.
Live with me? Oh, dear. Oh. Did you two have words? How serious is this, Mary?
I slapped her, and we sat down to a very meaningful talk, and I slapped her. What's the matter with me? Something's happening to me.
I don't know, but I don't think you should have slapped Heather, Mary.
I know, Ma. I know. I mean, you never slapped me.
That might have been a mistake.
What do you mean? You think you should have slapped me?
No.
You mean you think I should not have slapped Heather?
No, I think I might have made a mistake by not slapping Kathy. Do you think she would have been different if I had given her a good hard slap? But I just couldn't do it. I couldn't slap her or you. No matter what either of you did, no matter how much you broke my heart.
Oh, Ma, you're so good. You're so good. I wish I could be like you. I mean, I just want good.
Well, you just have to try.
But how?
Why, do what I've always done.
What?
Well, don't think about Heather. Don't think about her at all. Like, you know, when you and Kathy got to be too much for me, I'd think of something pleasant.
Well, like what? Like what could I think about?
Well,
What do I think about? More days like this to look forward to? I don't know what to think about. Nights, nights where Tom's gonna be at meetings all night.
and get your mind off that, too.
Well, how can I?
Well, think of the pleasant things that happened today.
What pleasant happened?
Well, for instance, I came over, and we had a nice visit.
Oh, yeah, and you bought your oven spray, and I took out my air freshener, and then we both realized how we're going to die in 30 years because I sprayed the room.
Yeah, yes, think about that.
Ma, that's not pleasant.
Yes, but I know, but it takes your mind off of your problems. That's what I did for you today. I came over and I gave you something to think about besides your own problems. And if that isn't enough, you turn on the TV news because you'll always find something on the news that will take your mind off life.
Mommy!
I feel like we are maybe a tiny bit more sophisticated now with how we listen to folks. And I mean, I don't mean every single person, but I feel like since we've been through several decades of therapy being much more normal, we have, at least in some ways, some of the tools for how we should be listening better. And not that Martha's advice to Mary wasn't sincere, but it wasn't great advice, which is basically distract yourself. I think I knew that the slap was coming because the 13th week ad promo that I've been using this week has specifically asked, why does Mary slap Heather? Like, it was the last question, and this was the last episode of the week. So I knew that that was coming. And As teenagers, we will often say things like "I hate you" to our parents, and as teenagers, you don't necessarily realize exactly what that might mean to a parent. Now, I don't believe that Mary was justified in the slap. I also think it was a complete impulse thing, other than the fact that it was written in a script. But yeah, that the relationship between Mary and Heather has never been great. And I think that I don't know what advice I would give there other than learning to listen better, giving some room. I've never been a parent. I've been a child, so I relate to that quite strongly. I think I was not probably a very good child in some ways. And, in the Hager household, Muriel definitely is playing the Hagers like a violin. And it's a little bit sad because I really appreciate when Loretta and Charlie are just doting on each other because I think that affection between two partners in a couple is a good thing. And this is a point at which they are both being tortured. So that was the April 2nd, 1976 episode of Mary Hartman, Mary Hartman. That was a Friday. Thank you so much for spending some time with me, and we will see you next week in Fernwood.